attention to a much bigger idea than
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, a frightening moment for Senator and 2020 hopeful Kamala Harris this weekend in San Francisco at the Big Ideas Forum hosted by MoveOn. That's just a little bit of a clip. We have the full video. A lot happened. You're seeing like the aftermath of a protester basically coming in, essentially like attacking her, ran up on stage, grabbed the microphone for her. I think it was scary.
Yes, it was quite scary. It was not okay to do.
Right.
That moment when someone comes up on stage, you have to know that these people don't have like the kind of security detail that an official nominee will have. But just have someone come and run on the stage. Just I don't know what that must have been like in the moment of the people on stage at that time.
Yeah, let's show it to him. Let's show him the full video.
Of your first big idea on the gender pay gap. Not everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big. Hey, hey.
I'm just
Hi.
Just
Wait a minute, sir.
Just a few minutes ago, asking for your attention to a much bigger idea than.
Thank you so much, sir, for your big idea. But we want to make sure that we are able to get through this.
Her husband
Yeah.
at the end who yanked the microphone with him, but this was crazy. And this is a member of a group, an animal rights organization. We've actually interviewed the head of this group about animal rights on the conversation before, but a member of an animal rights group feeling like he wanted to take this moment and talk about why Democrats need to protect animals better. And there's a part of this that a lot of people are touching on and are talking about. And this guy who did this was asked by a reporter. So when asked by a reporter after his removal about whether he had considered how it would look beforehand for him to be taking away a microphone from a woman of color, the protester said, "I did. I tried to show my profound respect for each of the people on stage," which is, it's a non-answer.
You didn't show any respect for the people on stage. And no matter who it is for me, I feel like no matter who it is on stage, the idea that you're saying I had great respect for the people who I disrespected.
Completely, right.
Yeah, and I just that one woman who's in the middle who gets up and kind of
Karine Jean-Pierre, I think.
And she gets up to kind of run
Jean-Pierre,
interference. She runs interference, but at that point, like all the things that must be going through your mind, like who is this guy? Does he seem threatening? I'm definitely terrified as he comes up, but he is wearing those toe shoes, with the little individual toes or something. Right. And then at the end, you see her husband. That's from what reports say, that's her husband who yanks the microphone away.
Just to even, I think I want to put it in a little bit more perspective about how terrifying this must have been. Kamala Harris is no stranger to death threats.
Yeah.
As I guess almost like essentially like the head of the prosecution.
Yeah, for sure.
In the state of California, a senator, a black woman in the US Senate, she gets threatened.
And just like the idea that this guy at the very end had this thing in his mind where he was like, you know what, this went well. Right. He reached out to us, by the way, to try to get interviewed on this show. And you called me.
Yeah, like, am I thinking wrong about, no, I don't think we should talk to him? And your answer immediately was absolutely not.
Yeah, no. It's difficult because like animal rights, I get it. And animal rights activists have a history of doing some pretty bold things. You know that PETA has a history of like throwing blood on people who are wearing fur, or fake blood on people who are wearing fur and yelling fur is murder. They do things like they put out videos where people are naked to show like this is the skin and I'd rather go naked than wear fur. And that is effective in my mind more so than doing something like this, which is it's just so strange.
It was disrespectful. I think it was abusive. It was scary, and this is just not the place to give a platform to that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really wish that in times like these, people could take a moment before. And I know we all get caught up in our own personal like purposes and our things that we're fighting for and that we're protests that we're involved in, but just take a look around. But I think that Kamala handled it as well as anyone could expect someone in that situation to handle it. She didn't, and I think she has more scrutiny potentially put on her than anybody else in that situation. Like if say it's John Hickenlooper or something who comes up, this guy was much taller and bigger than Kamala, but Kamala just kind of sat there and looked. When she identified it wasn't gonna be like a huge physical threat, she got up and walked away. I mean, how did you think that she handled it?
Yeah, I think she looked scared to me. I would have been terrified, but she remained calm, got up, walked away, and then was willing to come back and continue her conversation with the audience who was there to hear her after such what I thought looked like a scary situation.
Yeah.
So I think she handled it very well, and I think it's unfortunate that she had to handle it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. There's a lot of things, especially like right now, we're kind of in like the doldrums of the candidacy for some people who are running for the Democratic nomination, just because like originally everybody announced and we saw so many announcements,
right?
And it's just kind of going in this small lull. There was some news that was made, as we reported early on the show, with John Delaney and then also Cory Booker, and those were at different events. But now you're gonna see, like, until the debates start up, there's gonna be some time between now and then when people are just more or less like, you're gonna see a bunch of weird stories like this where someone jumps on stage to try to take some attention away from Kamala Harris, who lately has been kind of announcing more policy proposals than she had before.
I also think, I wonder like what aspect of this, because we do know, I think you pointed out like the history of a lot of animal activists and how they protest, how some protest and the lines that sometimes are crossed. But I wonder how much, like when you have a president essentially like inciting behavior like this,
yeah,
how unsafe the campaign trail is about to get for a lot of people, and that scares me.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.